I like to get a bunch of men together.
Okay.
Men that are the hardest of the hard. And I want to be with these men.
It's the Catechin, where we know how to appreciate a good POG. That's right, I'm talking about the well-known phrase for playing a Wildcat game. If you're here for the passion, the intensity, and the thrill of big, juicy plays, then you know how to appreciate POGs. The kind of that will make your heart race and keep you coming back for more. Hell, you might even be a POG yourself. I know I am. Today, we're diving deep into every twist and turn and curve that this game has to offer. We'll be breaking down every bounce, every drive, and every well-rounded play that's making waves on the court. Fellas, how are we feeling? Kentucky beat the Bucknell Bison 100-72. How are we feeling?
The opposite of cooked, so raw.
I mean, what can you say, right? Like, it's a good win without shooting super well, but it all, there's a couple highlights with Kriisa obviously coming into form a little bit, 12 assists, highest plus minus on the team, and then Kobe coming in, 6 for 8 from 3, 6 boards, 2 assists, and a steal. I mean, other than that, what do you really say? But a 28-point win. But I thought overall it was really good to see him, maybe shoot 36% from 3 and still win a game by, 30 points basically. But just you did what they're supposed to do before going into the, where things get real here in about, 3 days. So, Duke.
Yet another game with somebody different stepping up, playing really well, scoring really well. And that's kind of nice, especially at this point in the season before we play Duke. If they're trying to scout, it's nice that in our exhibitions in our first 2 games, it has been distributed pretty well. Different people having good games and winning in totally different ways.
For sure.
In the pregame press conference, Pope was saying that the focus this week was on offensive rebounding and just rebounding in general. He even said that he wanted the team to be a 30% offensive rebounding team, which is that's a high bar. I feel like even if we got halfway there, this team's going to be very tough to beat. And if this team is a 30% rebounding team, this team ain't losing. And you can tell as soon as they came out, just the way they're playing the game, they were all over the offensive glass. So it's nice to have a coach where he has the quick turnaround like that, and you're seeing immediate results after seeing the issue.
Kobe Brea, the hero of the game, I think, but Kirk Kriisa is just a composer on the court where he knows that he gave up several good shots for great shots like they talk about constantly, but it was specifically for highlight reel type finishes, and it was fun to watch. He's chirpy. Kobe Brea can't freaking miss.
I think those two things are going to be massive for the Duke game. Like to see Kurt get into form, like 12 out of the 23 assists coming from that dude coming off the injury, second game. But obviously he didn't, play a ton in the exhibitions. But no, that's huge because I think he's going to be a key piece. And he contributed defensively too. Only 2 turnovers to the 12 assists. So for as much as he held the ball, I think Kerr, obviously Kobe played well too, but I think Kerr would have to be my MVP for this game for sure. Because like you said, a lot of good to great on several of those 12 assists.
The kind of crazy thing about 12 assists and 4 rebounds is he only played 21 minutes. And Amari had his 14 rebounds in 20 minutes. It's where they're playing the same minutes, really, for the most part, as the 2014-2015 platoon team. Everyone there was around 20, and today only two players played more than 20 minutes. Brea had 26, and Robinson had 24. Everyone else had 20 or lower. They're. I think that keeps them energized. I think it keeps them active, able to participate at a high level. It's great.
Kerr also had a +20, and the plus minus led the team.
Yeah,
That's
Andrew
awesome.
Carr with the 17 plus minus, and we kind of talked about it during the game, but a little bit of a quiet game, but he contributes. You know what I mean? He's got he could get a few more rebounds, 3 boards, plus 17, 20 minutes, 11 points, 5 of 6, but efficient though. I mean, he played well. Jackson didn't shoot great, but he still had 14. I mean, just a lot of balance. That's the thing. Is like you said, Ben? It seems like it's a different guy. There could be a different guy every night. We just we're talking even in the exhibitions like with Owe, and he's going to have a phenomenal year. And he didn't play exceptionally today. He missed all his threes and stuff, but he still had a couple steals, 5 rebounds. Everyone that got on the floor contributed in some form or fashion. Every player was positive on the plus minus, which is a big deal.
I feel like
the way that Mark
you see the Andrew Carr breakout, like that's a game changer for this team moving forward. Yeah. When he carves out a role for himself and he starts figuring out where he fits into this picture, then we're looking at something special.
Such a good point, because remember how many of these guys were playing together last year? None of them, right? Essentially. And so, I mean, really, they weren't. And so that's the thing too, is it seems like they're a much more cohesive unit than you'd expect at this point but that's the difference between, getting some grown transfers versus a bunch of 5-star freshmen. That has kind of been the norm before, Pope got here. But I think that's going to be huge. Like you say, this is just scraping the surface. There's a whole nother level I think this team is going to go to pretty quickly.
Yeah, I really like the amount of basketball you get per game with how Mark Pope runs his offense and defense. Everybody talks about the Mark Pope offense, video game offense, whatever. You get down the court fast, you take your shots as soon as you have them. But also the way that he built the team, and he has these perimeter defenders just either forcing that ball to either come out quickly or causing a turnover, and which leads to another quick offensive possession. It makes for very fast. The time runs out like it flies by every one of these games, but they put so many possessions in on both sides. It's really fun to watch. It's an exciting brand of basketball.
Absolutely.
You can tell that we won by 41 and 28. Those aren't close games, but the crowd never really lost the vigor, especially once the Kentucky boys came on to mop up duty. They were still getting very hype. So yeah, it's very fun to be a Kentucky basketball fan right now.
You really can see the benches engaged too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I really wanted that, but you're good. Go ahead.
No, I was saying the bench is energized. They seem to all really enjoy playing together. It's just the vibes are high across the crowd, the team, the coach. I mean, everything's good right now. It gets real though, real in 3 days time, and I can't wait to see this one. Duke and Kentucky. It's you go from Bucknell and to Duke. It's going to be great.
Personality wise, you would think that the team would be like the Mark Pope choir boy, whatever, but then you have Brea having him, just mocking them. You have to call a timeout now, or I'm just going to keep hitting these fucking threes. So it's just, it's so good.
Last game too, and he turned his back at waiting on the shot to go in off of another Kerr Kriisa no-look pass, which is becoming more and more frequent.
Yes, almost like expected at this point.
That play
I can't
style.
Wait for say if that was Patrick Mahomes.
That play style with especially with Kerr and the selfless passing, about him passing up good shots for great shots, and how fun it is with the no look passes. You had Amari Williams doing no look passes today, and
you did.
Just that style of play where they're having fun passing the ball to each other is infectious, and it can just run throughout the entire team. And that's what looks like is what's happening. No matter what the results are of the game on Tuesday, I still feel great about the team. That sounds like pre-Cope, but it's not. But
no, I was going to say something similar. I think the biggest, they've been blowing out everyone, both exhibitions, both regular season games, all blowouts, right? They've been fast games too. But I think the biggest thing, if I'm going to nitpick a little bit, would be the turnovers in the post between Carr and Williams. I think they had 8 of the 15 today, which the 15 was the high out of both the exhibitions and here. But I think some of those weren't super forced. But I do think, it's going to be a big Amari and Carr. It's going to be a very big 1-2 against Duke, and they're going to have to play their best game to pull that one off. So I think that'd be a big point of emphasis. And obviously, Pope knows what he's doing. It's nothing new, but I think that's what I'm going to be watching for the most is those two and how they kind of are able to establish themselves early on in that Duke game.
I do have a. Go ahead, bud.
I was just going to say on the flip side of the turnovers in the post, Brandon Garrison, Owe, Brea, Almanor, and Perry all have 0 turnovers on the season. And Perry hasn't played a ton of minutes, but the other 4 have all been in quite a bit and handling the ball, passing, bringing the ball up the court, and no turnovers from any of them through 2 games is pretty cool. So
definitely,
I think, I mean, the first game we only had 7 turnovers. This one we doubled that a little bit. But even still, I know we said last time that some of the turnovers seem to be like things that would improve as the team gels. It's not, and it's not an out of bounds. It's not a travel. It's you thought he was going to cut, he thought he was going to stay, and you threw the ball where he wasn't. And I know we had at least 2 of those today. So and it's so much better to see that kind of turnover than a sloppy travel or double dribble or
yeah, absolutely.
the ball got stolen.
You're not giving a pick 6 basically on those turnovers a lot of the time. It's mostly a dead ball
right.
turnover.
I have a theory on, because even the first half, the offense looked a little bit sluggish, and we were taking a lot of like weirdly like contested mid-range shots or long twos, where it's just like, fella, just take 2 steps back, and I'm happy with that shot, because then at that point the juice is worth the squeeze. But I have a theory. I think we spent most of this week working on defense and on rebounding. That offense might not have been the focus as much. Did you guys see that too? I wonder if that's going to show up on the report.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, Ben dipping out real quick. Yeah,
but I think we just spent most of it working on defense and rebounding, and maybe we weren't able to focus in enough on offense this week. So it took us a little bit to catch our rhythm.
Wait, how many did we score? We only scored
still 100.
Yeah,
it's the thing is we're looking a gift horse in the mouth right now.
Yeah. I don't know. So the line opens up at 22.5, and then it goes up to 28.5. I don't know exactly what happened in that amount of time. If it was just that quickly, the entirety of the gambling industrial complex just turns its opinion, or if somebody got hurt or something. I'm not really sure.
Just think it was a poor line at the outset, honestly, and a lot of people hammered it, and it had to keep going up. That's what I would imagine.
Yeah.
But it ended up being a pretty dang accurate line. Yeah, I was gonna say they really cooked on that one.
Yeah.
What are the Duke game going to open up line wise? What do you think? Do we know? I mean, I don't know when that stuff comes out, but I would imagine they'd be favored by like 8.5.
I was going to say I think Duke by 8.
Maybe 7.5. It's like they're going to give it a weird odd number for some reason.
Yeah, right now Ken Palm has us losing by 7, and Torvik has as 5.5 point underdogs. So somewhere in there, high single digits.
So I don't know how much more you guys want to talk about this game in specific before we talk about Duke, because we're not gonna record again until that game. So do we have any closing thoughts on the Bucknell game? Or
I thought it exposed a couple things, good coaching points. It achieved a lot from the offensive rebounding standpoint. Like you said, I think they were focused a lot on D this week for the Duke game, honestly. And I think that there's a lot of coachable things here in a 28-point win. That's all you can really ask for. But it's Bucknell. We move. 3 days from now, it's Duke. So it gets real fast.
Nate Sestina, legend.
Won the Sestina Bowl. We won the Sestina Bowl.
2 things. First, Nate Sestina being a 41% 3-point shooter who averaged 6 points per game under Cal is so on brand. just one of the best shooters by percentage that he had probably his whole tenure here, and 6 points per game. And we saw him in TBT. I mean, he shoots so well, and it's just a shame thinking what could have been.
There's an argument he was the best player on that TBT team.
He
was the best
super
player.
Was other than Enos Cantor's brother.
Oh yeah, he was awesome.
Cousin, brother.
the only non-cat on the team.
Yeah, right. My only other thought on this game is that one thing I'd like to see improve is Brandon Garrison. I feel like sometimes, especially off a rebound, it takes him a second to process where people are. Everyone else moves so fluidly.
He's thinking a little bit, yeah.
And he does sometimes, but especially on an offensive rebound, he kind of has to stop and look around. And a couple times we'll have somebody wide open, and there just isn't time to take that second, right? They're no longer open. They would have been wide. You know, if you've got Brea on the wing for a three, you kind of need to hit him quickly.
Right.
Take advantage of the fact that there's no one on him yet. So I'd like to see some improvement there, but he's been playing fine. You know, I'm happy with
Interested
6
to see how
points on
much
2
he
for 6
plays.
doesn't sound good, but 5 rebounds, no turnovers, 3 assists, only 1 foul. That's all right.
I think this next game could be won or lost based on how Brandon Garrison plays.
Really? Okay. I was going to say, I don't even know how much he's going to play, truthfully.
It's gonna be. It's weird because I've been looking at the game that they've played, and they have dudes playing in 30 minutes, and I just don't think that's gonna happen when they're being run up and down the court as quick as they're gonna have to against us. So I don't know, or they're gonna be wore out, and then Amari Williams and Brandon Garrison can make those points, but they're that foreign. What's the European kid? Knipple or whatever.
Yeah.
Nipple?
Yeah.
That a kid named Nipple?
Yeah, I don't know. Knipple with a K. Yeah, he 6'7" guard, and
Freshman.
he's their leading scorer. I just wonder who we have guarding him on the perimeter.
Jackson.
Ortega.
Somebody.
So, what's going to be better than whatever he went up against Maine and Army, but
That's a good Duke team. I mean, make no mistake, this would be a huge win in the cap of. I mean, this would set this. I mean, it's not. It doesn't. You don't. Nothing really changes win or loss. I mean, with a loss, whatever. Like it is what it is. I'm not even trying to cope. I honestly think they're going to win the game, but it would be huge. That'd be a huge launching off point for Banner 9. Honestly.
So it's hard to tell whether this is an elite basketball team or is this team just way more put together in November than we are used to. But
Might be
either
both.
way, I think it bodes well for this game.
I think it's a good early season. Yeah, I think it's to the Kentucky's advantage that it's being played a little earlier. We're got, what was it, like 500 plus starts or something like that. That might be a little high, but it's a number in the hundreds, like for the Kentucky. None of them, obviously, 2 of them are here now, but like over the course of their careers, and that means a lot. You know what I mean? Playing that many games, being in Final Fours, stuff like that.
How many commentators over the summer were saying, Kentucky, we like the pieces, we see what he's trying to do, but where's the they don't have the continuity or whatever. And it feels like this team is more prepared for the season than any team I've watched since I've watched basketball as an adult. So yeah, is it continuity or is it experience or is it coaching? Because then you hear, certain coaches are like, we haven't got to do 5-on-5 yet. It's November.
So we over me, the buy-in is huge here.
Yeah.
Did you hear or see, there was a clip someone shared that was Pope going through the players for Bucknell beforehand, talking about this is what they do well, this is how we'll have to guard them. And it was more basketball than anything I've ever heard from a coach. It was more of an explanation of just what we'd be seeing than I've ever heard coming from a coach at any level in a press conference. It's
and he's still not a dork.
No,
he's not just one of those dorks.
Absolute junkie with swag, dude.
I don't know. What is it? I feel like has a different, like, time as a concept has a different effect on Mark Pope in general than it does other people, because he puts so much more basketball into these games. And then he's recruiting, he's hitting up all this, like, the content and stuff, and managing the program as like a brand. And then also he knows every Bucknell player. It's crazy how much he does. And maybe he didn't sleep.
This was an old Bucknell team, by what Pope was saying too, is that these guys have been playing together for a really long time. So this was another team that was incredibly experienced, and they did have the continuity year over year, and we beat them by 28.
And you can kind of see that out of the gates. They played really hard. They played tough, kept it a little more in check than other games have gone so far. But no, that's a solid squad. I think they have good pieces on that team. There's a lot of times they made some guys, they beat them off the dribble a few times. There's a few defensive assignments which you didn't see in the other games. You can tell there's a little bit higher level of a team, a little bit better concepts they're running. But yeah, no, that's a good point. But man, I really want that Duke win.
I think one more note I have on this game in particular is Amari Williams did have 5 turnovers. And I think that might be a trend that we see, is that Amari might have more turnovers than the rest, because we are playing him as sort of this point center position. So he might have more turnovers than what we're accustomed to seeing for a center.
I hope
And
that's
if he's
not
able
this
to
next
improve
game.
that at all,
Yeah.
it might just have to be something that we accept with how this goes.
I mean, maybe not 5, but hopefully, cut it down a little bit because 5's tough. But yeah, I mean, you're right, though. He does play that, he kind of is what Ali Khalifa played for BYU last year a little bit, just that, the point center, as you mentioned. So it is fair. Like he is using the ball a lot more than, I was more worried about Carr with his ball security in the
3.
post a little bit more than I was in but
Well, boys.
So one thing I did notice before the game is Noah Williamson, their center, 7-footer, he scored like 32 points their last game, and then he was kind of a non-factor like from the jump. It felt like that was like on purpose to play like that knockdown type ball right at the beginning, because you knew that what they were going to do offensively, and if you messed it up, even if it kind of messes up your flow, eventually you're going to go on a run, which we did. And when it feels like, especially with these games in particular, we go on one of those runs where they have to call timeout after another Brea 3,
Yep.
it kind of becomes manageable from that point. You can stiff arm the rest of the game. I really just, it seems so simple too. Like all of this stuff seems like, why don't all the coaches just do this?
right.
But it's fun to watch. It's fun to follow. It's fun to see them be told what to expect and then operate in a way that aligns with whatever the coaching was.
The best thing, I mean, the content that the media team puts out is just great. But the best thing from that 10-minute mic'd up with Pope was there was an out of bounds play, and you listen to him tell the players where he wanted them, how it was going to work. Then you pass to him, then he cuts, then you pass here. And then they showed the play right afterwards. And it was pass for pass, exactly what he said. And it's just, you're right. It's fun to watch, and it's fun to have that sort of background look, behind the scenes look at it as well.
He was saying, he was
Also
like, he's going to go over and then backdoor to Jackson Robinson, and that's exactly how it played out. It's awesome.
I really do enjoy that, like, assists are this whole new facet that we are looking for and seeing and noticing and hyping post game. It's like we didn't think about that really before, or just most old school style basketball. You don't think about that assist to a great shot being baller, and it's cool. Like he makes this
23
shit look
assists
cool.
on 38 field goals. Yeah, that's pretty good. They'll improve that a little bit, I'm sure, but not a lot of
that
ISO
means
ball.
There'll be a figure tweet on that, but if we just had a guy that could go get a bucket.
If only, man.
If only. Might have a few of them actually, so that's good.
If what they meant by "we don't have a guy" is that we don't have only one guy, then sure, right?
Maybe that's what they meant.
Like we were saying about it being a different guy every night. Like I'm fine with that. I'm totally happy winning with the star player being unpredictable. That makes us hard to guard. If anyone can go off on any night, that's awesome.
Also, there's never been a star player that was great every night. So it's like if you have to, put your dependency on a guy taking over, then you want to have 4 dudes that could be that guy that night.
Well, and that's what I was going to say is it's not necessarily a different guy leading every night out of inconsistency. It's that what the game flow brings to the team, right? Like who's on. It's not necessarily like hopefully somebody steps up. It's like somebody will step up. They'll have an opportunity, and it's going to be different guys every night. Whether Jax leads it or isn't. Butler's going to play. Like this wasn't that well played of a game, truthfully. Like given what this team's capable of, but they still won by 28 against again
they still
a solid
scored 100
squad.
points too. Yeah,
exactly.
And they I think they were at like a 31% from the 3 first half. Then it went up to what 41.
41 in the second half, 36 overall for the game, I believe.
Yeah. So rough shooting night, and we still wind up hitting that stride in the second half. And it's just really based off of just one guy doing it. There's always going to be one guy, though, it feels like, when you have 6 that could be that guy, like Almanor. had went 3 for 5 the first game.
My my last observation here, it was just that for a second, and I don't know how long, haven't been able to see how long yet, but we played Kirk Risa and Lamont Butler together.
Mhm.
And that's really interesting. It's something we didn't do at all against Wright State. I mean, I don't think it's going to be a most likely thing. Probably won't even see it every game. But I love that we're still playing around with the lineup. I love how interchangeable these pieces are, especially 1 through 3. That's really neat. I think a lot of people were curious about who the starting lineup would be before the season started. On the burner depth chart, our starting lineup is totally wrong. We have people in positions that aren't even what they sort of end up playing in the line. I mean, it's funny how wrong we were, especially because these guys are old. We've seen them play
Yeah.
in some cases 4 years of basketball, and we
Yeah.
still don't even know what position they were going to be in Mark Pope's offense. And
I
so
think
it's
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 because
really neat, and I
he's
like that
got
we're
like
still
a
playing with it.
ditto. It's like a ditto roster, right? Like whatever it needs to be, he'll do
Yeah,
it. It's very simple, but and then when you think about it, as in like we have a roster and we have these cutout roles or whatever, but it's a little bit more nuanced than that, based off of how the flow of the game's going, whether we're having to play to get those threes or they're giving us too much paint. And depending on that, it's like, are we going to play 2 bigs? Are we going to play, 2 point guards? What are we going to do? And the roster just isn't just one thing.
Right. Very
And I think
flexible.
that, yeah, and that having that level of analysis in your coach, it's like you're putting your players into these good positions so they trust you, even if they're not getting the amount of minutes that they thought. Like they're still, I mean, the production is wild.
We over me.
We have the
well,
best shooter in college basketball coming off the bench.
Yes.
I mean,
the
come on.
the nice thing, though, I know you said not getting the minutes you're expecting, but like I said earlier, everyone's getting roughly 20 minutes here. Here, Perry had 3, Noah had 4, everyone else
19 and
had
up, or I guess 11 for
yeah, Chandler had
Colin,
11.
but
Everyone else had 10 or more.
he had
Almanor had
freshmen though.
14. I mean, they're really, really
But they
cycling
play
these
30
guys
minutes
in
worth
and
of
out.
basketball each.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, I don't think there's going to ever even be rumblings of people being pissed about playing time when,
They were sold on a vision specifically for the
yeah,
team. Yeah, like, he's had a plan since day one. Like I said, if you let him in the building, he's getting the job. He did. He has a vision.
yeah,
He's had it the whole time. Yeah, it's just unfolding at this point.
I mean,
yeah. And
this
Kobe
team's also
Bryant, just, God.
this team's chock full of guys who are very, very good college basketball players who don't
Mhm.
necessarily have a career in the NBA. When you have guys like Andrew Carr, Kirk Risa, Amari Williams, I'm sure he's going to play pro ball, but probably not in the States. This is the peak of their basketball career, and I
They're here
think
to
they
hang
know that.
nine, dude.
Yeah, they are here strictly knowing like these are the good old days, and
Banner camp.
I think that
Banner camp.
plays into our advantage because in previous years, I think when things would go poorly, the guys were like, "Well, I'm going to be in the league next year." So when you have guys
Right.
What day can I
playing their
stop
heart
going to
out,
class? Yeah.
yeah, you
Ooh,
guys
that's a
playing their
very
heart out,
fascinating
knowing
point.
that this is as good as it gets.
Yeah, absolutely. Probably money wise too in a lot of cases. Honestly, like it's the peak of
Probably.
competition. I mean, money's big right now, man. I mean, you're making good money. You got great Osibor making over 2 million. You ain't gonna make that anywhere
I
else.
I think I don't know. Maybe, I mean, Kobe Bryant probably come back to earth a little bit. I just don't know what could happen differently that would make him come back to earth.
Missed shots. That's about what it'll be.
Yeah, I don't think he does that. Google him.
About
You
half the
know.
time. Yeah.
Google him.
Yeah, just Google him. Yeah,
Do we want to move on to our Duke preview, fellas?
I mean, yeah, it's
yeah.
gonna be a big one.
I think. I mean, so Noah Williamson, I felt like was the Cooper flag. You know, this was probably a pretty good game to have somebody like that, a 7-footer that scores a lot of points to practice against. So,
And he went 3 for 12.
I mean,
So
Bush
Yeah,
League,
1 for
yeah,
8 from 3. So,
it's the Bush League version, but still,
but it's a live body that's of similar. I
Mhm.
get what you're saying there. I think I in no way expect this kid. What the other biggest games that have happened so far around the country? Baylor, Gonzaga, snoozer. Gonzaga absolutely housed them. Kansas did
Carolina.
beat Carolina. That was a little tighter, wasn't it? I didn't see the
Louisville,
games.
Tennessee.
Yeah, Louisville, Tennessee, not
I don't.
close.
I don't
Jared,
know
cut
if
cut cut
Tennessee
that out
playing a
of the
mid-major.
major.
Tennessee played
Yeah,
a
get out of
mid-major,
here.
and
Cut
we're saying
that.
that that's a big game.
No, we're talking. So, anyways, my point is, I don't think that there's any chance of it being a game like what Baylor saw. Like, thank goodness we hired Mark Pope, right? But I really think it's going to be a close game. Honestly, I really feel good about Kentucky winning it, though. I just pure experience. No, like been there, done that. You know, like we've expressed over and over again. I just really think it's a really good time to play that team. Could be totally wrong, but we'll see.
In
It's
person.
house money. Yeah, we'll be
Yeah,
there.
that's
The
true.
important part. But
Some of
it's
you
a
will
house
be.
money game. I don't think anybody, other than I think a portion of the Kentucky fan base, is really expecting us to win that game, or maybe even really keep it all that close.
I
I
think they win
think
the game.
if you told people what would be more likely is for Duke to blow us out or for Kentucky to win the game, I think people would say probably Duke to blow
Yeah,
us out.
probably.
Really? Okay. All right.
But my thing is we've been on the other side of this before, especially in the Champions Classic when we play Michigan State, because Michigan State would always have a bunch of old dudes and we would have a bunch of young talent. And we know, especially in November, experience trumps talent a lot of times.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I might be puffing on that copium, but I like our chances.
I'm gonna get. Yeah, were you doing
I mean,
predictions on this one?
I didn't think we were going to win. You know,
Attaboy. Attaboy.
I think it's going to be a really good game, or we blow them out. You know, and I think that's the range of outcome. I don't think Duke can blow us out.
I don't
it's
think
more likely they
anybody
can
blows
try to
this team
close
out.
Duke out.
Yeah.
I think it would be like psychological warfare that would need to happen for us to blow Duke out, but with
Hit a bunch of
18
threes,
years,
bro.
it's very possible. We see it.
Kirk Risa
We've seen
committing
it so many
psychological
times.
warfare.
Yeah. And then Kobe Bryant on national TV in primetime telling Shire, is it Shire?
Yeah.
Who's their coach? Yeah, Shire to call timeout. You better call timeout. You know, that would.
I think for every player on the
it's
team, this would
more
be the
likely.
biggest game they've played in their life, maybe other than Jackson.
Well, nah, Lamont.
Lamont played for a title.
Of course. I'm sorry, I'm an idiot. I'll
Right.
mute up.
No, you good. Let's look at.
Well,
Let's see.
and so talking about experience, it looks like against Army, Duke started freshman, sophomore, freshman, junior, freshman. And so, and yeah, like you said, we've been there. We know how wrong that can go sometimes. And not saying it will necessarily. Flag looks to be the real deal. So does Canoopel. But I know we've looked good in our early games and struggled at that point before too. So it can happen. I definitely I cannot wait for this game. I think it'll be fascinating.
Absolutely, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah. It'll be a real
I'll also
telltale.
add Ainsley Almanor was on the Fairleigh Dickinson team that beat the 1 seed Purdue.
That's true.
So I'm going to mute up for a while and look for my dunk step.
So this is my thing. I'll tell you this: Cooper Flag's not going to get rattled in this game, but the rest of the team could. I could see that being a thing. I think Cooper Flag could play in the NBA tomorrow. Okay, like he physically he could, and he's the real deal. I'm not going to take anything away from that dude. He's absolutely legit, but I don't know that the rest of the team's going to be able to hang with. I mean, it's a team game for a reason. I really do think Kentucky's got a really good shot at winning this game. I think it'll be close, but I think they'll pull it out.
I like that we're probably going to have Amari on him. I feel like I don't like the matchup as in I think that like Amari's going to be better than Cooper Flag. But
my concern's the foul trouble with that. But go on, sorry.
That's why I think that Brandon Garrison could be the reason we win or lose the game.
That's a really good point. I take back what I said.
Buddy. I make a lot of them. If you just ignore my last take.
I think that is absolutely probably the.
I'm drunk.
Sorry about that. Ran into some technical difficulties. Caleb is no longer with us. Something about a drone strike. I'm not sure. I think we were leaving off with the Duke game. Fellas, to close this up, do we want to do predictions, MVP, general thoughts on how the game will go?
Absolutely. Number one, we're going to be there. So if anyone's going to be there, come say what up. Number two, we're going to win that game. and the MVP, Amari Williams.
I'm going to go second here because I might be a bit of a pessimist. I don't like being hurt, so I like keeping my expectations low. So I'm gonna take Duke to win in heartbreaking fashion. But if we
Picking
did win,
against the Cats.
hypothetically, I think that this is the Jackson Robinson is here party, and he's shining when the lights are brightest.
I think. I mean, I have no idea. I'll predict we win a close one. I do think it'll be good. I hope it's not Zion year 2.0. That was among the most defeated I've ever felt watching a sports game. Immediately, I mean, you knew like this isn't going to get better. But I'll say win a close one. Ortega MVP.
I like that. Fellas, any closing thoughts before we wrap this bad boy up?
We'll see you at 3-0 on the next one.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching the Catechin. Please remember to like and subscribe. We're not really pushing this out yet, so a lot of our viewers are just organically growing, and we appreciate that. So please like, subscribe, leave us a review on iTunes, Spotify. Thank you so much. Hugs and kisses to you all. Go Cats.
Go Cats.